And first off, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time today. I know we all have busy schedules and to join this webinar. I hope you will find it extremely informative and get some good information on really how to improve quality and communications with the organization around the cloud environments and Hyperfish. So next. So your presenters today, myself, Bob Dickerson, I am the Director of Sales for Microsoft Practice for DataPoint Solutions, and be going over a little bit of that today. We will also, from Hyperfish, we have Jacob with us, and he is the VP of Sales. He will be presenting, we will be presenting several different slides at the same time today after I get done the initial couple slides. So if we can go to the next slide.
Sure thing. Hi, everyone.
We do have everyone muted. We'll have some time in the afternoon here later to, after we're done, to open it up for some Q&A. But right now, I just wanted to give you a little overview on DataPoint Solutions, who we are. We are a Silver Microsoft Certified Partner, and really our core competencies around SharePoint and helping organizations around cloud enablement, which includes a lot of the O365 and Azure stack of Microsoft. And then you can see some diagrams below, some icons on kind of some of the key areas where we focus in helping organizations with business automation. A lot of that goes around, we do a lot of work in migrations, whether you're going from a legacy system to SharePoint or to the cloud, as we are experts at that. If you need to do advanced workflows or intelligent forms, all around, cloud environments and helping organizations understand the best way and the best practices to go to cloud. Whether that's around integrating around compliance and Guardian and on governance compliance. And the key thing around it is really around business automation, basically trying to make your organizations and your users be able to leverage the systems and technology that your organization have invested in and make you and your organization more productive and be able to deal with all the digital transformation that's going on today. And the key part of that is going to be centered around kind of what we're talking about, all around security. This particular webinar today is focused strictly around Active Directory and some of the challenges that organizations will have about the detail and the structure. And we find today is most organizations are using Active Directory at the very high level of your organization to keep track of a lot of your username, your profiles, and things like that. But 75% of organizations are not doing it in an automated and creative way. What we find them is they kind of put it out there and leave it the way it is, and they're not updating it, they're not analyzing the data, and being able to make it organized and the information be there to be most proficient for an organization. And we all run into that today, where we run into situations to where we got to find who's the person in HR, who's the person in accounting, and what's their phone number, and what's their email and things like that. And one of the challenges we find is when organizations are really good about when you add new people and onboarding, but once people leave and change and the phone numbers change and names change, that information is not being automated as easy as it could be, and that leads to a lot of different things. We also find out around the whole Active Directory thing around successful migrations to the cloud. Many of our organizations and agencies we talk to today are moving to the cloud. But if your AD is not properly configured right for the different things that we're going to be showing today, can I go back one slide if you don't mind, please? Yep, not a problem. One of the things we find is if your AD is not up where it needs to be, when you go to leverage the new technologies around O365, Office, Graph, and Delve, they just won't be usable as much as they need to be within that. And you're going to find things like lost productivity. You're going to find really the ability to have your workflows and everything really work properly. and to making decisions more efficient because AD is not driven properly. And the single version of the truth is really how do you integrate with all these systems, make them better, and integrate with the other line of business systems to be able to have the accurate information. So who's the owner, who has the right permissions, and it's really at the end will give you poor ability to be able to use, like I discussed earlier about the innovations around O365. So that gives you a little idea of the business challenges. What I'd like to do now is turn it over to Jacob, and we can get into the meat of this webinar and how we can leverage the Hyperfish technology to improve the things we just talked about. So Jacob, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you for that. So as Bob was saying, a lot of the challenges that we see with organizations is that missing profile information. So not being able to find and associate the right information against user profiles is a huge challenge, especially when you're talking about cloud migrations, but just general intranet information architecture is a huge challenge without having that correct data. So Hyperfish is a technology that we just launched at Microsoft Ignite, and what it does is it enables the organizations to essentially identify all of the missing information inside of your Active Directory profiles, and then we use chatbot technology to start conversations with each user and crowdsource the data and collect that information back into your AD, which then flows onto all the other systems. So as I mentioned before, if you have Active Directory or as your Active Directory in your organization, you'll probably realize that there is a lot of missing and incorrect information in your user profile data. So what we do is use AI chatbot technology to start those conversations with the end user, and we break down those requests into smaller chunks. So if a user is missing a mobile phone number or a job title or a manager field, the bot will reach out to them and start to capture that data to then put it back into your AD. You've also got the ability to interact with Hyperfish from a mobile-friendly interface, and over time the bot will also start to make suggestions to your users based on information that it can find using the Office graph in emails as well as LinkedIn. So for example, if you have a job title or a phone number inside your email signature, the bot will recognize that and make that suggestion to you to update into your profile. Some of the common things that people collect in organizations are things like your org details. So org structures are built using manager relationships inside of Active Directory. So all of the latest People Hub technology and Microsoft Delve will rely on that association between employees and managers as well as which department they're in. Profile pictures are often a headache for people to manage because you get a lot of issues when you try to upload your profile pics and it becomes unsynced between what's in AD, what might be in SharePoint, and what might be in Exchange and Office 365. So Hyperfish solves all that by allowing you a single point to update your profile picture, and then that will flow onto all the other systems that use that information. Skype and Skype click-to-call are obviously hugely reliant on ensuring that you have the right phone number validation inside of AD, and Hyperfish supports the ability to allow your IT team and your partners to be able to validate those phone numbers and set up patterns for what's expected of the end users when they input that data. Location information is really important as well for things like managing targeted communications and audience targeting inside of your intranet. We also drive adoption by leveraging, number one, what you already have. So a lot of customers have Skype for Business, Outlook, Exchange Online. All the contact cards and Skype phone numbers are all built on what's inside of your Active Directory profiles. So having that data populated will help drive the adoption of the systems that you already have. And then, as Bob mentioned before, and as we talked about, Delve Analytics, teams and groups inside of SharePoint, so audience targeting, and we also look at things like people search and the new announcement of Microsoft Teams. All of that relies on having your profile data up to date and correctly populated to enhance that experience. So as an example, some of you might be using Delve today or the new My Site experience, and this is what it typically will look like if it's not being populated correctly. And with your profile data actually being populated, you'll see a much richer experience inside of those new Microsoft technologies that are being released. So let me show you how it all works. So first thing I want to start with is the actual analysis piece itself. So as you go into app.hyperfish.com, you can input your email address where you would like this report to be sent to. And you have the option to select on-prem or hybrid environments, or if you're running pure cloud, then you would select the cloud-only option. One thing I wanted to mention here is that on-prem and hybrid require you to have a domain account. So anyone with domain access can run this analysis report. We don't keep any of the profile data. These are simply ones and zeros that produce the report that gets sent to you. So once you've run the analyzer, and it runs, for a 500,000 seat organization, it takes about 10 minutes. So here you can see an example of what the report looks like. This is our Woodgrove Bank demonstration tenant, and you can see we have 3,000 accounts just over, and we're missing about 69% of our basic account information. We also produce a calculation based on what could be saved in the organization if they were to implement Hyperfish. So in this example, we could save potentially 12,000 hours per year, and that's based on a number of calculations that we can share with you after the webinar of interacting with IT to update your profiles, as well as things like finding individuals at the right time. There was a IDC study that we reference to produce these numbers, and like I said before, we can share that with you afterwards as well. So going through the actual report, we break the data down into 6 different sections. We have profile pictures, manager reports, position details, location details, organization details, as well as contact information. And scrolling through the report, you get a bit of a feel for why that matters to the organization as well. So for example, here we have 95% of our users are missing manager reports, and that will help things like automating approval workflows, generating org charts, and improving communications, as well as automating things like groups and teams using the new Microsoft Teams technology. So again, in the report, you've also got a breakdown of the sub-metadata, or the attributes that are used to calculate the category that we've put it in. So for example, here we have location details and a breakdown of all the attributes that are used to create this calculation of 32% completion rate. So once you've run the report, you've seen what's wrong with AD and where your biggest gaps are, you would then move to the Hyperfish product itself, which again starts those conversations with the end user to request data that's either missing or incorrectly formatted. In this example here, I have an email coming from our Hyperfish bot called Woody, and it's telling us that we have a missing field, which is a manager. I have 2 options to update my attributes inside of Hyperfish. I can respond to the email and say, my department is marketing, as an example, or I can click on the update my profile link here, and that's going to take me into my profile page. You can see here that my attributes inside of AD are all populated here except my manager field, which was missing. So we've done some work with Anne Wallace to make sure that her profile is up to date. So the way I would actually make changes to my profile is I'd simply click on the little edit button, and I can then start making changes to my profile. As an example here, I've got my mobile phone. If I start inputting something that doesn't match the pattern that we've requested as validation, it's going to give me an error telling me that that phone number does not match the format. So basically saying we need a valid phone number. We also have the ability to do things like people pickers. So for example, here we have our manager field that we need to populate. I'm going to go ahead and add Tony as my manager. And you'll notice here that my profile is actually 93% complete. If I go ahead and save this, it's going to tell me that this field is now pending. So according to Hyperfish, my profile is in fact 100% complete. However, because this field is pending, it does require approval before being written into Active Directory and then all the other systems that will feed off your AD data. We also have the ability to input drop-downs as well. So if you want to have drop-down fields for things like state or country, you can do that. And you've also got the ability to have drop-downs for other things like department or office location or job title, for example. So if you want your users to select from a predefined list of attribute data, you can do that as well. The final thing I'll show you before I step through some of the configuration is your ability to actually validate photos before they're uploaded to all the systems that we talked about before. So if I go to change my profile picture, I'm going to go ahead and add an image from Ignite here that's actually got more than one face. So if I try to validate this photo to upload into my system, it's going to tell me that there are too many faces. If I go to upload that again and select just the face, this is Justin, our Customer Success Manager. If I go to validate that, it's going to tell me that looks good, and I can go ahead and save that as well. And you'll notice that that's pending. So once that's approved, like I mentioned before, Hyperfish will resize that photo to put into Active Directory, and then it will keep the original high-resolution photo to upload into Office 365 and resize it for your SharePoint environment as well. So going into the Hyperfish dashboard experience, we can see the similar report that we showed you before with some more populated information here, but also some additional functionality that you get as part of the full product, which is your trend analysis. So over time, once you've been running Hyperfish for a while, it will start to show you your trends as it builds out your profiles and your users start populating their information, so you can kind of see the progress of your profile data. The approval screen allows me to approve or reject my changes. So here are my two changes that I just made to Ann Wallace's profile. I'm going to go ahead and reject those changes. And you'll notice here that if we jump back into the profile and refresh that, it's actually going to revert back to what it was before, 93% back with Ann Wallace's photo, and we have no more manager as well. We also keep a full event log of all the changes happening to your profile, so you can search for specific users. You can filter the dates of when you actually want to see the event log changes happening. And I can also filter out the analysis if I want, or just look at the analysis that's being completed. Jumping into my settings here, a couple of things I want to show you is Hyperfish allows you to run in full run mode, which is against your entire Active Directory or the specific OUs that you've selected. I can also run it as a pilot mode, so that means I can select a specific set of users and run Hyperfish against just that user group. And I could also do analysis only, which allows me to just run that analysis and get the report without reaching out to individuals yet. My approvals screen allows me to control which attributes require approval. So here you can see that all of my attributes except mobile phone and postcode will require approval. So if it has automatic approval selected, that attribute will be written to AD without requiring that approval. Approvers are notified immediately by default. However, we can notify them daily or never, depending on which setting you prefer. If it is never, you will require your approvals to actually log into the approval screen to make those approvals for the attributes to be written. Going through my attributes themselves, we have the ability to customize our attribute display name, so I can mask these attributes however I like. I can also select which format I prefer the users to input that data in as, and also whether those fields are required, read-only, or if we're choosing to hide those attributes from the profile page. We also have the ability to support custom attributes. So if you do have custom attributes inside your AD, such as employee ID as an example, or mentor, or dotted line manager, whatever you happen to have, we can support that and also support the format that that gets inputted as. So as an example, I'll show you the mobile phone number here. We can give the user some hint text of what we expect from them and also change the format that we're going to capture that data with. So for example, the phone number format does require that pattern that we set before. And the way we do that is using regular expressions. So if we jump into these formats, you can see here I can add additional custom formats such as drop-downs or other validated fields. And jumping into our phone number here, we're using that regex here, that regular expression, to capture the validation against the number that we expect. We also have the ability to brand the profile page however we like. So you can see before we had the Hyperfish branding. However, if you'd like to add an additional logo and change the Hyperfish logo out into your own company logo, you can do that. You can also change the accent color and the header text and secondary color. So for example, if I wanted to change it to be a black header with white text, you can preview that to see what it would look like, and you can see we have a different experience to what it was before. Going into the HyperBot settings themselves, this allows us to turn the bot off or on. So if the bot is turned off, you will require your users to go to the profile page to make those changes. If the bot is on, it'll reach out to your users and basically communicate with them to update the profile data that is, again, missing or invalid based on the validation that you set in the attributes page. So here I've given our HyperBot a name, so it's Woody, so you can give it an email address and also configure the personality. So here if we select serious, it's going to use quite formal language, relaxed will be relatively casual, and then fun will start to throw a bit of humor into the communications as it reaches out to your users. The tenacity of the bot controls how frequently it's going to communicate with your end users. So here we've set it up to reach out to them daily, and it will attempt 7 times before it gives up or they populate their data that's missing or invalid. If it's unlimited, it will continue to reach out to them until they make that change. We also have the ability to have profile validation. So if you turn this on, this allows you to schedule an email that will go out to the end users and ask them to validate their profile before it kicks off. We also have contact channels that are supported, such as email, and we also have Skype for business. So the notifications will be communicated to the end users using Skype. And we also support Slack and Skype commercial as well. If we want to add users to the Do Not Disturb list, we would add them here, and that means that they won't get communicated to by the bot itself. So that is the product end-to-end, guys. So basically, again, just to wrap it up, we get communications from our end users, from the bot to our end users. We populate our profile by going into our profile page based on the rules and validation that we've set. And then we have full control over our attributes, our bot behavior, as well as branding of the experience. So let's open up for questions. All right, did you want to unmute everyone?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
No worries.
Trying to see what happened to, there it is. I'm looking for where you unmute everyone.
Yeah, I only see the mute button. So I've got a question here that's come through. What information is kept by Hyperfish? So basically, none of the profile data is being kept in perpetuity. The cloud service communicates to your on-premises Active Directory using an agent that's installed on one of your servers, and the agent makes changes to your Active Directory profiles using a service account. So if you guys have questions, just feel free to add those to the question panel. I think everyone's unmuted now as well, so if you guys want to jump in and ask anything, please feel free.
Yep, I think everyone should be unmuted at this point. So we do have that last slide if you want to bring that up, Jacob.
Sure. I can do that.
So again, we appreciate you all taking the time to, review the technologies and the capabilities, how to better streamline communications and better leverage the tools that within Office 365 and SharePoint give you. One of the things we do after this webinar, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be sending you a follow-up email, but you can request your free analyst review, and we'll run that on your systems and give you an analyzed report on kind of what Jacob showed today and give you a high-level overview on some of the challenges that your Active Directory may have today. And if you want to take another step further, we can discuss how you leverage that and implement Hyperfish in your organization to get better communications and a better utilization of the tool sets that O365 give you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do want to schedule a demonstration or run this as a pilot, you can reach out to Bob or myself, and we'll make sure that we get that organized for you.
Great. If we don't have anything else, again, I'd like to thank you all for your time, and appreciate if you have any more questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. If not, have a great day, and we thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Hope you all have an awesome day. And if you do have any questions, please do feel free to email us with those as well. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Thanks, Jacob.
Thank you.